Hey, I'm Danielle. This is the first of one of my makeup videos, which I've been planning on doing for quite some time. This is on makeup brushes. And these initial makeup videos I'm doing are about getting our kit, getting our essential gear established. So as we go through learning about makeup, which I'm doing too, then we will build up our gear and how we use it and what the different types of makeup equipment we're going to need are. And in this first one, I'm doing your 5+1 essential makeup brushes that you will use in almost every makeup look that you do. These are the ones you take with you on holiday, the ones you keep. You have perhaps several different ones of, and these are our basic essential brushes. Now, before we get into it, if you like this sort of content and if you're interested in the sort of things that I do, hit that subscribe button, hit that alarm so you'll be kept up to date with everything that goes on, and you'll get notifications when I do a new video. So let's get into it. Now, if you're a regular to my channel, you'll know I don't wear that much makeup. However, I am a VTCT level 3 qualified makeup artist. I'm a Mac Pro card holder. I love makeup. I have possibly a bigger makeup collection than Jeffree Star. I have so much makeup. So in this first video, we're going to cover the 6 essential brushes that everybody should have in their kit. Your liquid foundation brush. This is a MAC 190. This is kind of the standard foundation brush. It's a staple brush. Ask anybody what MAC brush they bought first, and it's probably a 190, or actually maybe a 182 Kabuki. That's really popular as well. Like me, a lot of people prefer to use a blender or a sponge or fingers when they start off because it's easy. And sometimes, you know, the skin on your fingers can make foundation blend a little better. But there are many reasons why you should be using a brush. With a little practice, you'll get a more even spread. It'll be smoother. You'll use less product. For liquid foundation, a brush, honestly, is better in almost every way. And there's loads you can choose from. I mean, I just showed you the MAC 190. Here's an old vintage Benefit foundation brush. It's a lovely brush. They don't make these anymore, unfortunately. There's a Body Shop foundation brush. You can tell them, they're kind of flat like that. You can see there. But they all have that very similar shape. And they're quite dense as a brush goes. Which one you go for is kind of up to you. Plenty you can choose from. Start practicing using a liquid foundation brush. You will never look back. The next brush you should have in your kit is a concealer brush. Now the concealer brush is actually in consistency quite similar to the liquid foundation brush. It's meant for liquids, and it even looks the same as a foundation brush. If you compare them side by side, these are two Benefit ones. They have a similar shape, similar thin on the side, fat on the edge. You see? Or is that fat on the edge, thin on the side? I don't know. But it's a very similar brush, but smaller. And you use this for applying liquid foundation. And because it's quite a dense brush, you can dab the concealer on and you get so much more control. And again, as with liquids, you get far more control of your product. You waste less. It's better for hygiene. Perfect. You get much, much more control with the brush, especially once you start to use them a little bit and you get more practice. So there's quite a few different brands you can choose from, as with all the brushes. There's the Benefit one I already showed you. You could use a Morphe, an M425 Morphe concealer brush. Lovely, lovely brush. Gotta be honest, big fan of Morphe brushes. There's the MAC 195 concealer brush. You can honestly, there's very little to tell between these. The MAC is the more expensive. The Benefit, I'm not even sure you can get anymore. Morphe, certainly available from Morphe Direct. Beauty Bay, I think, sell them as well. If you can get Sephora online, they do a really good concealer brush. Don't worry about going for the numbers. Just look for a concealer brush, and it looks like a small foundation brush. My favourite, because these are so lush, is a big powder brush. Now, gosh, there are so many of these. These are probably the one you're going to have quite a few of, because you will like different ones and you will find lots of different types. So let me show you. So this is just honestly, I've got so many of these things. This is just a few of the powder brushes I have. This is a Makeup Forever brush. This is that's actually a number 7. It's a Boots brush, Boots own brand. It's really good. That's a Morphe E41 powder brush. They're great. That's a MAC 134. Now, loose powder brushes, they can often, you'll see loose powder brushes are kind of very similar, so you can mix and match a bit here, but generally they're quite big for the big brushes. You'll have smaller ones, which is one coming up next actually, but the big brushes tend to be your big powder brushes, and you use these for applying loose powders, large amounts of it. You use it your whole face, your neck, your décolletage. You get a lot of product very quickly because you don't want to use a little brush to just scrub away at your whole face. So big powder brushes, bronzers, things like that. You're going to use these so often. And sometimes you might want a couple of different ones just for different applications. So big powder brush, third brush you want to have in your collection. And they're so lovely. It's like, oh, they're lush. Honestly, I love big powder brushes. I've got one here. Let's see, look at this one. This is technically a fan brush, but it's also a loose powder brush from Sephora. It's just so lush. So, you don't have to get one that's specifically that's called, powder or bronzer brush. You can use different types of brush and mix it up a little bit. That's a Sephora 29. Sorry. That's a Sephora 92. Really nice brush. Okay, next up, it's the blusher brush. Now then, this is where it gets a little confusing because some will say it's a contour brush, some will say it's a blusher brush, and then companies sell contour kits and blush kits. So there are individual brushes that do the same sort of jobs, but basically what you want is a fairly medium density and typically an angled brush like this. This is a MAC 168. Let me find some other examples here. This is a Sephora number 45 brush, which is still in its cellophane. And this is a dual fibre. As you can see, you've got different fibres in there. This is technically a contour brush, and that's technically a blusher brush. But you can do the same things with them. If you feel them, they've got a very similar density. So when you're starting out, just get the ones you need. Later on, especially when you're doing more, if you're doing blusher or if you're doing contouring, you may want to have blush on one so it picks up the pigment and you haven't got to keep washing it all the time. Tell you what I use all the time, and I absolutely love this brush, and it's one I showed you earlier. There's a Caboose. This is a MAC 182. There's a load of these on the market. These dense brushes, like a dome shape like that. Oh, they're amazing, and they're so nice. You can use this for so many different things. Chanel do a really nice one. A new ID. That's a new look one. Here's I don't know what that is. What the hell is this? This may have been a brush that I had from a Christmas cracker. I don't know what that is. I get distracted. So yeah, a blusher brush. Loads of control. As we develop, and we can be doing this together, we'll be using this for contouring too. So you'll probably want to build a couple of these up over time. Don't go crazy. Just get one initially, get yourself started, and we'll go from there. Eyeshadow brush. So mainly, you want two types of eye brush. This is the plus one. You want a shadow brush, which is this sort of small dome-shaped type. And you can use this for almost everything, okay? You can hold it at the base or you can hold it at the end. And that's a Morphe R37. This is a Sephora number 27. Very similar, just eyeshadow brush. Here's a MAC 224. Any one of these is great for doing your eyeshadow. Now, the way, if you feel them, they're soft, well packed, but they're very, very soft. They shouldn't scratch the eye at all. Your eyelids are quite sensitive. You'll know if you buy a cheap brush because it'll feel like you're sandpapering your eyeshadow on rather than putting it on with a nice brush. And makeup should be nice. And one of the things I'll say about buying good quality brushes is it should feel nice. You want to enjoy putting makeup on. We'll get into the techniques with brushes in a later video, but you're going to want at least one of these, and probably, unless you want to be cleaning it all the time, you're probably going to end up with a few different eyeshadow brushes. So it's a good opportunity to go and have a look, and just look for that. I mean, that's the classic one right there, the Morphe and the MAC. That's the classic shape. As a bonus eye brush, you want one of these. This is a crease brush. This is a MAC 266. If you compare them side by side, you can see it's a much squarer top and it's a much firmer bristle. And you hold these normally much closer to the base and use them for getting into the crease, which is much harder to do on a soft brush. So get yourself one of these two, a crease brush. Super useful. So there it is. That is my list of essential top 5+1 brushes that everyone should have in their collection. You will use these brushes over and over again for pretty much every single makeup look. And if you only have those 6 brushes, you can do almost any makeup look. The next video will contain more detailed brushes. You can do an awful lot with just those 6 essentials. So I really hope you found that useful. Please share, like, comment, dislike, all the usual stuff. I love you guys, and I will see you all in the very next video where I will expand on your kit and some useful accessories to have as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Mwah.